Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Madan Mohan, Shri Radhe. Jai Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Nama Srishtam Manumapi Shachiputramatra Swarupam Shri Rupam Taschagrajata Muripurim Madhurim Goshtavatim Radha Kundam Girivaram Maho Radhika Madhavasham Prapto Yassa Pratita Kripaya Shri Gurum Tam Natoshmi. He Guru Gyana Dadina Bandhu Swananda Data Karunaika Sindhu Vrindavasi Nina Hitabatara Prasida Radha Pranaya Prachara. He Dina Bandhu Karunaika Sindhu Kuru Prasadam Mai Mandamodhe Lakshabaradhe Bahupapagare Tatpada Padme Stushne
Naivopayanti apachatim kavayaslavesha Brahmanishapi kritam vritam udasvarantara Yo antarbahistan vritam ashubham vidurvan Acharya chaityamusha swagatim vyanakti.
I bow down to the beautiful lotus feet of my spiritual master, by whose causeless mercy I have obtained the supreme holy name, divine mantra, the service of the son of Sachi Mata, the association of Srila Sarup Damodar Rupa Goswami and his older brother Sanatan Goswami, supreme abode of Mathura, the blissful abode of Vrindavan, the divine Radhakund and Govardhan Hill, and the desire within my heart for the loving service of Shishi, Radhika and Madhava in Vrindavan. O spiritual master, O giver of divine wisdom, O friend of the fallen, you are the giver of your own bliss, and you are the only ocean of mercy. Although dwelling in Vrindavan, you have descended for the welfare of the fallen souls like myself, and you are preaching the divine love of Radha and Krishna. Please be kind upon me. O friend of the lowly, O Gurudev, you are the only ocean of mercy. I am a dull fool and have committed hundreds of thousands of offenses. I have fallen into a dense myriad of sins. Therefore, grace me with your mercy so that my mind may be fixed on your lotus feet on Sri Krishna. O my Lord, transcendental poets and experts in spiritual science could not fully express their wintedness to you, even if they were endowed with long life of Brahma. For you appear in two features, externally as the Acharya and internally as the Super Soul, to deliver the embodied living being by directing him how to come to you. The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can attain pure devotional service. I bow down to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By his grace, one can cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. Our only wish is to have our consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is the perfection that fulfills all desires. He opens our darkened eyes and fills our hearts with transcendental knowledge. He is our Lord birth after birth. From him ecstatic prema emanates. By him ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor and the Lord and master of the devotees. O Master, be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. Your frame is spread all over the tree.
Srila Prabhupada ki Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sadma Shri Guru Charana पद्मा केवल भक्ति सद्मा वंदो मुई सावधान मते वंदो मुई सावधान मते यहर प्रसादे ये भव तोरिया यहर प्रसादे ये भव तोरिया कृष्ण प्राप्ति हो जा होते कृष्ण प्राप्ति हो जा होते गुरुमुख पद्मा वाक्य चिते ते कोरिया ऐक्य आर न करे मने आशा आर न करी मने आशा श्री गुरु चरणे रति ऐसे उत्तम गति श्री गुरु चरणे रति ऐसे उत्तम गति जे प्रसाद पूरे सर्व आशा जे प्रसाद पूरे सर्व आशा चक्षुदान दिलो जे जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशित दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशित विनाशः जाते वेदे गाय जागार चरिता वेदे गाय जागार चरिता श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु अधम जनार बंधु लोकनाथ लोकेर जीवन लोकनाथ लोकेर जीवन हा प्रभु कर दया देहो मोरे पद छाया एबे जास घोषो त्रिभुवन जय प्रभु पद प्रभु पद प्रभु पद जय प्रभु पद कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनी के नामिने नमः। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Gaura Bhakta Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Jaya Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Madan Mohan, Radhe Jaya Gaura Nitai, Gaura Nitai, Gaura Nitai, Jaya Gaura Nitai. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol. Jai Gaur Premanande Hari Bol. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahadurjagacharya Stottar Satchishim this divine grace Abhay Charanarvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. ISKCON founder Acharya BBD founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahadurjagacharya Stottar Satchishim this divine grace Bhakti Siddhanta Sarati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki jai. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय. नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय. श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय. वृंदावन मथुरा धाम की जय. नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय. श्री क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय. गंगामय जमुनामय की जय. भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय. कलयुग पावन श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय. श्रील प्रभुपाद ट्रांसेंडेंटल बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की जय. श्रील भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय. श्रील भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर तिरुभाव महामहोत्सव की जय. निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga.
Hare Krishna, we are going to set up Krishna Bhagavan.
I need to show.
No, sure. Second.
It continues what time? 8 to
9:45.
9:45. Okay. लोग बैठेंगे ना? लोग बैठेंगे ना? हाँ वो आदत है. ओके. बेटा उसको 15 मिनट का फिर एक और कल्चरल क्लास होगा. 15 मिनट का. किसका क्लास है? कल्चरल बेसिकली यूथ वो करेंगे जो करना है. हाँ. थैंक यू. जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीर वनचारी यमुना तीर वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीर वनचारी यमुना तीर वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। श्रीमद् भागवत महापुराण की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। Do you mind taking this bottle away from me? Today's fasting till noon. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। Hare Krishna. So I would like to welcome all of you for today morning's Bhagavatam discussion on Canto 2, Chapter 3, chapter entitled Pure Devotional Service. And I have chosen a section which is between text 13 to text 19. 2, 3, 13. Is there on the book? Page not found. शौनक उवाच इति अभिव्याहृतं राजा निशम्य भरतऋषभ किम अन्यत् पृष्टवान् भूयो वैयासकिं ऋषिं कविं शौनक उवाच इत्यभिव्याहृतं राजा निशम्य भरतऋषभः किं मन्यत् पृष्टवान् भूयो वैयासकिं ऋषिं कविं शौनक उवाच इति अभिव्याहृतं राजा निशम्य भरतऋषभः किं मन्यत् पृष्टवान् भूयो वैयासकिं ऋषिं कविं
सकीं ऋषिं कविं
शौनक उवाच इति अभिव्यार्थनं राजा निशम्या भरतार्षभा किम् अन्यत् पृष्टवान् भूयो वैयासकिं ऋषिं कविम्
निशम्य भरतर्षभा किम् अन्यत् पृष्टवान् भूयो वैयासकिं ऋषिं कविम्.
Anybody amongst the Vaishnavis?
शौनक उवाच इत्याभ्यव्याहृत राजा निशम्य भरतर्षभः किमन्यत् पृष्टवान् भूयो वैयासकिं ऋषिं कविम्.
शौनक उवाच इति अभिव्याहृतं राजा निशम्य भरतार्षभा किं मन्यत् पृष्टवान् भूयो वैयासकिं ऋषिं कविम्.
Shaunaka uvacha. Shaunaka said, iti, thus, abhivyaharitam, all that was spoken. Raja, the king, nishamya, by hearing. Bharata Rishabha, Maharaj Parikshit. Kim, what? Anyat, more. Prishtavan, did he inquire from him? Bhuyaha, again. Vaiyasakim, unto the son of Vyasadeva. Rishim, one who is well versed. Kavim, poetic. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charanarvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. Shaunaka said, you repeat? Yeah? No. You don't repeat, right? Okay. Shaunaka said, the son of Vyasadeva, Srila Shukadeva Goswami, was a highly learned sage and was able to describe things in a poetic manner. What did Maharaj Parikshit again inquire from him after hearing all that was said, or all that he had said? Purport. A pure devotee of the Lord automatically develops all godly qualities, and some of the prominent features of those qualities are as follows. He is kind, peaceful, truthful, equable, faultless, magnanimous, mild, clean, non-possessive, a well-wisher to all, satisfied, surrendered to Krishna, without hankering, simple, fixed, self-controlled, a balanced eater, sane, mannerly, prideless, grave, sympathetic, friendly, and in italics Prabhupada has put poetic. I think it's here, not there, right? Not in the online version. It's here. Poetic, expert, and silent. Out of these 26 prominent features of a devotee, as described by Krishnadas Kaviraj in his Chaitanya Charitamrita, the qualification of being poetic is especially mentioned here in relation to Shukadeva Goswami. The presentation of Srimad Bhagavatam by his recitation is the highest poetic contribution. He was a self-realized learned sage. In other words, he was a poet amongst the sages. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamaiham Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin iti namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gaurat Vishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripa tamaham vande Shri Guru Deenatarinam. Hare Krishna. So I'd like to welcome all of you for beginning our discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 3, chapter entitled Pure Devotional Service. And we'll take a section between text 13 to text 19 today. We'll see how much we can cover as far as we can do that. At the beginning, I would like to thank the temple management and His Holiness Vaishika Maharaj and Nirkula Mataji for giving me a chance to share Krishna Katha with all of you. I'm sorry that you have to bear with me, because otherwise, if Maharaj and Mataji would have been here, every Saturday is a festival for all of you. But today it's like, someday you get feast and someday you only get sukha chapati. So today you're going to experience, dry chapati from my side. But please accept it as an offering, right, to please all of you. So today also happens to be Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's disappearance day. And on that auspicious occasion, we are also going to have Janardhan Maharaj coming in, right? So later, I think after 9:30, 9:45, we'll also have a discourse from Janardhan Maharaj on the occasion of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's disappearance day. For now, we will continue discussing on this section, and I'll also see wherever I can speak about Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, I'll make an attempt. So, Parikshit Maharaj had asked two questions to Shukdev Goswami that way. The questions were, what is the general duty for everyone? And especially, what is the duty for a dying man? So these two questions were asked. And by this section, second canto is where Shukdev Goswami begins speaking. And second canto, third chapter, 12th verse is where Shukdev Goswami ends. Sutta Goswami says this is what he spoke. His answers were there. Tasmat Bharata Sarvatma Bhagavan Ishvaro Hari Shrotavya Kirtitavyascha Smartavyascha Ichchata Abhayam. Right? One should be Shravanam, Kirtanam, one should be chanting, always singing the glories of the Lord. So this is the duty for everyone, and especially duty for the dying man. And Shukdev Goswami continued all these verses. Shukdev Goswami mentions the futility of demigod worship. He also mentions how a jnani may develop detachment, but all these jnanis also ultimately come to Krishna, devotional service to Krishna. And his own example also is given, how I got attracted to Srimad Bhagavatam. All that will come in this canto. But when Sutta Goswami says this is what was spoken, and Sutta Goswami stops. But then Shaunaka the rishis, right, especially Shaunaka rishi, he says, wait. The discussion may not have got over. Parikshit Maharaj had, come out of his kingdom. He was there on the banks of Ganga, sitting there in front of Shukdev Goswami. Parikshit Maharaj is Bharata Rishabha, the best of Bharat Vamshi, and Vayyasakim, he Shukdev Goswami. Amongst them, when the discussion must have happened, it cannot stop at this point. When Shukdev Goswami is speaking, the great pure devotee of the Lord, he is speaking about Krishna. How could he stop himself from further glorifying the Lord? And Parikshit, who is sitting in front of Shukdev Goswami, he must have asked some more questions. This discussion may not have ended, in just 2 chapters. So then Sutta Goswami says, yes, Shukdev Goswami is Kavi. He's a poet, right? So he sang the glories of the Lord. And the entire Srimad Bhagavatam the remainder of Srimad Bhagavatam is further questions of Parikshit Maharaj and glorification from Shukdev Goswami. So when Shukdev Goswami is glorifying the Lord in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam, Vyasadeva is also sitting there. Narada is sitting there, right? The best of the rishis from all around the world. And our Radha Govind Swami Maharaj says, Sab apna ashram band karke aaye the. Khatam. no kitchen, no kitchen, nothing being cooked in the kitchen. Everyone locked their ashramas with all their disciples. Everyone was sitting in front of Shukadeva Goswami, because Shuka is speaking now, right? He is also the parrot of Srimati Radharani. And when he glorifies Krishna, that glorification of Krishna is so beautiful. So Shukadeva Goswami is being glorified as poet here, but the whole section, this 6 or 7 verses section the title for this section is Eagerness for Hearing. So Shukadeva Goswami and all the sages, they were assembled there, Asina Dirgha Satrena. They were there for thousands of years of yajna. But they decided only our faces are becoming black out of the suit. Nothing is coming out of it. Because they understood Dwapara is turning into Kali. Right? What is the point of doing this yajna? And all these sages who were sitting there, in the assembly there, they all had so many opinions about what should be done for the welfare of the people in this Kali Yuga. Right? So the sages were worried at the beginning of Kali Yuga, and the worrisome thing is that we still don't worry about it, about Kali Yuga. We think wonderful, everything is going on very nice. You'll find in the 11th canto of Bhagavatam, Krishna calls Uddhava and says, Uddhava, Kali Yuga is beginning. Very soon Kali will begin, I can see, right? The indications. I'm supposed to leave now. As soon as I leave, Kali will begin. And Krishna tells Uddhava, Rukna nahi. You should not stay here. I am leaving, but you cannot come with me. I have some service for you. You go and whatever I have spoken to you, you go and recite the same scriptural knowledge, the jnana, you go and recite it to my devotees who stay at Badrikashram. But once again, Krishna cautions Uddhava, do not stay for long. Kali is very bad. Kali is dangerous. No auspicious qualities will remain in Kali. Krishne swadhama upagate dharma jnanadivi saha kalau nashtam drisham esha purana arko udhinoditaha. What did Krishna do? Just as through the medium of Arjuna, Krishna gave us Bhagavad Gita. Through the medium of Parikshit Maharaj, Shukadeva Goswami and Shukadeva Goswami, Krishna arranged to give us this Srimad Bhagavatam. When Krishna is left for his abode, when Krishna goes away, like, if we say the Prime Minister has left, with the Prime Minister who all will go, his cars will go, his retinue will go, his secretaries will go, his security will go. When Krishna goes away from this world, it's not that Krishna did not come alone, right? Surely Krishna did not go back alone. Dharma jnana adhi. Anything that was dharma, anything that was knowledge, anything that was auspicious, everything went behind Krishna. Everything left. So this is the Kali Yuga that we are living in, right? And for this Kali Yuga, which is like dense, dark, amongst all the ages, it's the darkest of the ages, we need a sun. What is that sun to give us the light? This is Srimad Bhagavatam. Purana Arka Udhinoditaha. Right? Srila Prabhupada, he opened one temple in Canada, and I think most probably it was Toronto, and most probably. And Prabhupada is giving a lecture there, and Prabhupada is saying, so devotees had bought this church, right? And previously, some church was functioning from that property, and they sold it off. And Srila Prabhupada is giving lecture there, the inaugural lecture, and Prabhupada says, now ISKCON has taken this property, but we may also have to leave this property one day and go away. Only if we commit the same mistake what the previous owners did. What was the mistake of the previous owners? Prabhupada says, they were not sufficiently glorifying God. They stopped glorification of God. They had to vacate this place. Even we, as ISKCON, may have come in here, but if we stop glorification of God, Prabhupada said, that's why I have given you a program of morning Srimad Bhagavatam and evening Bhagavad Gita. And in the daytime, Kirtans and Prabhupada book study, the more and more we do Krishna Katha, right? Srila Prabhupada, he was, a little controversial thing was coming to my mind. I'll not say that. This is going online, right? Okay. Okay, forget it. So, Srila Prabhupada gave us this program of Shravanam Kirtanam, right? To hear the glories of Krishna. Shrunvatam Svakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanah Hridayantastohi Abhadrani Vidhunoti Suruhutsatam. The more we hear Krishna Katha, the more we hear about the Lord, what will happen? Our hearts will get purified. So, many of us may have our regular program of Shravanam Kirtanam, right? We attend Bhagavatam class, either we come to the temple or we attend it online. We may have our own program. This section of Srimad Bhagavatam displays not just, the glory of hearing Krishna Katha. This talks about eagerness to hear Krishna Katha. Right? So there's another level that we go to, that we develop that eagerness. And the example for eagerness in hearing Krishna Katha is Parikshit Maharaj himself, who's sitting right there without a drop of water, without eating any food, without any sleep. And any time Shukdev Goswami says, shall we take a break? No, don't stop. Don't stop glorifying Krishna now, right? So even when Shukdev Goswami decides, let me take a shortcut, I will not, describe a particular pastime in detail, and Parikshit Maharaj stops him. No, don't do this. Give me in detail, right? Some places you will find Shukdev Goswami tests Parikshit Maharaj. He will ask a question, and Parikshit Maharaj, answers. So this eagerness to hear Krishna Katha has to be developed. First, we understand the value of it for our spiritual life, and then we focus on it and we develop eagerness for it. So in this verse, 2.3.13, Srila Prabhupada is talking about in the purport process, a pure devotee of the Lord automatically develops all the wonderful qualities, right? Auspicious qualities. Anybody can tell me the verse? Yasyasti bhaktir bhagvatya kinchana sarvair gunai tatra samasate suraha harava abhaktasya kuto mahadguna manorathena satidhavato bahi. For a devotee, all the auspicious qualities will manifest in the devotee. Krishnas Kaviraj Goswami, Prabhupada is quoting in the purport, Prabhupada says the 26 qualities of a devotee. Just like, we have Raj Narsingh Prabhu sitting there, he's an army man, a veteran, right? And when he was serving in the army, in India they wear green color, right? Green. And then they have so many badges here, right? How do you get it? You go to the market and buy it, right? I like some colors, so red, green, yellow, blue, thoda here, thoda there. You don't buy them from the market. They are awarded. The government or the military, they will award for some wonderful, some chivalrous acts. Similarly, when a devotee is practicing Krishna consciousness, Krishna awards these auspicious qualities. When we are sincerely practicing Krishna consciousness, all these wonderful qualities are awarded to a devotee, right? These qualities, Krishna awards these qualities to a devotee. So one of the quality that is mentioned here is that Shukdev Goswami is poetic, right? Shukdev Goswami's glorification is not just simple, talk. His Bhagavatam that he's reciting, it's in the form of a poem, right? Beautiful meters, right? Exactly, meters will change wherever they have to. And how many verses here? 18,000 verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. And Shukdev Goswami is reciting these verses out of his memory? No. These verses are coming from his heart. These are his pure, something that is relishing in his heart, and that is pouring out of his lotus mouth. Right? So a devotee is called a poet. One of the qualities that a devotee will be awarded is a devotee is poetic. Like many a times when, especially when Vyasa Puja ceremonies, different devotees come forward and make their offering, you'll find some of them can really make it wonderful by writing a wonderful poem on Srila Prabhupada, writing a different beautiful poem in honor of their Guru. And when one time Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Sri Thakur's Vyasa Puja was going on, Srila Prabhupada recited a poem in honor of his Guru. And 2 lines out of that poem, right? Absolute is sentient, thou hast proved, impersonal calamity thou hast removed. These 2 lines, when Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur heard it, Prabhupada, Bhaktivedanta Thakur said, Abhay Babu, that is our Srila Prabhupada, Abhay Babu has understood the purpose of my coming into this world. Imagine. It was Rupa Goswami, Sri Chaitanya Mano Abhishtam. It was Rupa Goswami who could understand what is going on in Krishna's mind, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mind. And Srila Prabhupada, he could understand the purpose of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Sri Thakur's coming into this world. Absolute is sentient, thou hast proved. Right? Impersonal calamity thou hast removed. When Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur heard this glorification in a poetic manner done by Srila Prabhupada, Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur called for his one sannyasi disciple who was the in charge for printing press in those days. He told this sannyasi, whatever Abhay Babu writes, print it. No editing required from here onwards. Right? Whatever he writes, print it in our magazines. Right? Our monthly newsletters and all. So we find Srila Prabhupada, Shukdev Goswami is poetic. Right? All the acharyas are poetic. Beautiful, songs that have been written by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. It's his disappearance day today. And these songs are so dear to devotees. Right? Gopinath, Mama Nivedana Shuno. So many beautiful songs he has written. And Srila Prabhupada also, like, generally, when somebody may come to America, the shores of America, one may say, wow, this is an amazing place. Now that I have come here, party, right? I have reached here. But Srila Prabhupada came to the shores of America, and Prabhupada had this poetic expression of the compassion from his heart. He wrote Markine Bhagavad Dharma. I don't know, I'm not qualified, Krishna, but you have brought me here. There must be some reason. Now my name is Bhakti Vedanta. Now you can, you can ensure, oh Lord, you can ensure that through me, your glorification can happen in this part of the world, and the hearts of people in this part of the world may transform. You can make me dance. Nachao, nachao, nachao se mate. That beautiful poem that Prabhupada wrote, the bhajan that Srila Prabhupada has written, this is an outpour, devotional outpour from the heart of a pure devotee who has this quality of being poetic. So, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, can we display this? This is Antya Leela, first chapter, 172. Text number 172. Antya, first chapter, 172. See what Rai Kahe. In an assembly where Rupa Goswami is there and is beautiful, he has written this Natakas. And Rai, so okay, we'll recite. Rai Kahe Tomar Kavitva Amrute Radhar. Dvitiya Natakir Kah Nandi Vyavahar. Your second drama, you recite the Nandi shloka, he is saying, but Ramanand Rai, who himself is such a beautiful kavi, poet, devotee, he says, Rai kohe tomar kavitva amrute radhar. Your kavita, the way you have written this nataka, beautiful Sanskrit shlokas, and you are glorifying the Lord, it is amrute radhar. It's a continuous shower of nectar. Can we display the 194th verse now straight from here? प्रेम परिपाटी ए अद्भुत वर्णन सुनिचित्त कर्णेर है आनंद घूर्णन. Can we display the translation and somebody can read?
The wonderful descriptions of Rupa Goswami are superb arrangements to express loving affairs. Hearing them will plunge the heart and ears of everyone into a whirlpool of transcendental bliss.
Glorification of Rupa Goswami being poetic. The next verse, 195th. Very beautiful verse, Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami is quoting here. Kim kavena kavestasya Kim kandena dhanushmataha Parasya hridaye lagnam Na ghurnayati achiraha. It's like a shero shairi only. See what's going on here. Somebody can read the translation. What's going on here?
What is the use of a bowman's arrow or a poet's poetry if they penetrate the heart but do not cause the head to spin?
See what's going on. What's the use of that poetry? If it penetrates the heart but doesn't cause the head to spin. That's Srila Rupa Goswami's. Okay, next verse. We can go to the next verse. तुम्हारा शक्ति बिना जीवेर नहीं ए वाणी तुम्ही शक्ति दिया कहो हे न अनुमानी. After glorifying Rupa Goswami's poetic, the way he has written it, Ramananda Rai turns to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and says, Tumhara Shakti, this is your potency. You have invested this potency in him. You have blessed him. That's why he is able to write such beautiful, the Nataka. And we find Shirupera Akshara, not just his poetic, Rupa Goswami's handwriting was so beautiful. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Shri Rupera Akshar Jena Mukutara Panti. Right? His handwriting is like a rose of pearls, he says. Okay, we can go to the next one. See, when he's writing, it's so beautiful. Okay. Okay, go ahead next. This is Ramananda Rai continuing. Madhura prasanna ihar kavya alankar Aiche kavitva vinu nahe rasera prachar. Translation.
Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu praised the metaphors and other literary ornaments of Srila Rupa Goswami's transcendental poetry. Without such poetic attributes, he said, there is no possibility of preaching transcendental mellows.
Without these poetic abilities, poetic attributes. So now, we'll just have a little discussion here. There was Keshav Kashmiri who came to Mayapur, right? And he also could recite very poetically. And we have Rupa Goswami here who can also recite very poetically, right? What is the difference? Keshav Kashmiri did not get the mercy initially, right? Keshav Kashmiri came to Mayapur in a challenging mood, right? But he was also poetic. So we find that a non-devotee may be poetic and a devotee also may have this quality of being a poet. What is the difference between the two? The devotion to Krishna. Anything else? The pure glorification of the Lord. Anything else? The submissiveness of a devotee to the Lord. Right? Anything else? Sorry? Can you take the mic?
The effect of the work.
The effect of but why is the work affecting others?
Because if you speak nonsense, you can't penetrate the heart and make the head spin.
Okay, you are still with the head spinning. Head spinning. Okay, okay. Because he is a devotee from his heart. He's a devotee of heart. He's not. So Keshav Kashmiri comes in a challenging mood. He's a jnani, right? And he comes in, and there also in Chaitanya Charitamrita you'll find it is said, when he recited his shlokas on Mother Ganga, right, novel verses, and just like Ganga only the verses were flowing. Just like Ganga flows, 100 verses in glorification of Ganga. Keshav Kashmiri could recite, right? Rupa Goswami is reciting, but Rupa Goswami's verses are being glorified here. Why? Because he is empowered by the Lord himself. Right? You find two personalities. One is Dhruva Maharaj, who never went to school, right? Yeah, sure. He never went to school. He was mere 5 years old. Right? And Krishna also, he went to school after like 11 or 12 years. Right? Kids would have fun. Right? एक हमारा ज़माना था, है ना, जब हम टायर ट्यूब चलाते थे, और एक आज का ज़माना है जब बच्चे यूट्यूब चलाते हैं और टायर ट्यूब का ज़माना. Kids would just play around. So Dhruva Maharaj, he never went to school for sure. He never studied Sanskrit for sure. But his mother told him, go to forest, you will get audience of Krishna there. And by the mercy of Narad Muni, within 6 months he got darshan. And when he saw the Lord, when he got darshan of the Lord, he was so stunned that nothing was coming out of his mouth. And what will the mere 5-year-old boy speak? What will he speak? But then we read his wonderful poems, wonderful shlokas in glorification of the Lord. How could Dhruva Maharaj recite these, wonderful shlokas? One thing happened in between. Right? What happened? The Lord placed the conch. Right? So this is the empowerment of the Lord. Right? Unless a devotee is empowered by the Lord, he cannot be poetic. Right? He cannot express the glories of the Lord in a wonderful poetic way. Another small boy in Bhagavatam is Prahlad Maharaj. Right? All the devatas, Brahmaji, Shivaji and Lakshmiji, nobody is going in front. Oh, he's very angry. We don't want to face him now. Narsingadev is very angry at this time. And they push Prahlad Maharaj ahead to offer prayers. And there is an entire chapter of prayers of Prahlad Maharaj. How is he offering the prayers? Right? He is offering the prayers because the Lord empowered Prahlad Maharaj, touched his palm. Tava kara kamala vare. Right? The kara kamal, which were, with sharp nails, just now, Hiranyakashipu was delivered. And with the same palm, he's touching Prahlad, and Prahlad begins reciting the wonderful verses. So this poetic ability, when Srila Prabhupada, one time when he was, one reporter asked him a question, Prabhupada said, Krishna has written these books, these purports and everything. And another devotee who was standing close by said, that means Krishna recited and Prabhupada wrote. Prabhupada said, who asked you to give your purport? I am saying Krishna has written them. Right? Because a devotee becomes a transparent via medium, nimitta matra for Krishna. What happens? Like Srila Prabhupada said, a devotee is live wire. Prabhupada says, a live wire devotee. When a devotee becomes a live wire devotee, then Krishna's mercy flows through. And a devotee is empowered by the Lord. And that's how wonderful poetic renditions we find that the devotees have offered. Okay, before we go to the next verse, which we should now, otherwise we'll not be able to complete the section. When we may also feel like, look, let me start writing. I have also been practicing for a few years now. Right? I have been around, not that, I have not been around. I'm very submissive, I'm very submissive. Right? And everyone says that, you are such a nice devotee, Prabhuji. You are such a nice devotee. And not just devotee, they call me Prabhu also, So it seems I can also start writing something now. What care should we take? First is, when you want to write something, ask yourself, have you been blessed by any senior devotee? Somebody in Parampara should have blessed you. Please do this service now. Right? Without blessings, one should not take up to writing. Right? The second thing is, when a devotee begins also writing, a devotee will never write anything speculative. Right? And a story for that is when Vallabha Bhatta, when he came to Mayapur, he said, I have written something on the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Right? My own understanding of and he said, I have not followed what Sridhar Swami has given. And Lord Chaitanya became so angry. What? Sridhar Swami is the foremost commentator of Srimad Bhagavatam, and you are saying Sridhar Swami may not, there's no need to refer his, his purports. And Mahaprabhu says, Prabhu kahe, jena mane swamira vachan, vaishyar madhyatar koriye ganan. If you do not follow the previous acharyas, right, you are as good as a prostitute. Very strong comment. Mahaprabhu does not give such a comment ever. But for this, because Mahaprabhu said you have become speculative. You are not following in parampara now. So a devotee is never speculative. Whatever a devotee writes, he would first like to confirm with the previous acharyas or senior devotees. Like Rupa Goswami writes his natakas, then he presents it to Lord Chaitanya. Right? And whoever would come to Jagannath Puri, I have written some poem, I have written some nataka, and they wanted to present it to Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya knew so many upstarts like that come here, and everyone wants to present it to Lord Chaitanya. Then there was one protocol was created. What was the protocol? Unless whatever has been written, and some poem and something has been written, unless it passes through Sarup Damodar Goswami and Ramanand Rai, the person and his presentation was not put in front of Lord Chaitanya. Why? Lord Chaitanya, most people are speculative. And there's a very beautiful pastime. One person from Bengal comes in, Jagannath Puri, and he says, I have written something in glorification of Lord Chaitanya and Jagannath. And when he presents his kavita, all devotees are, mesmerized. Wow, very nice, very nice. And Sarup Damodar Goswami says, Kidhar se aaye tum? Where have you come from? You understand what you have written? You have committed offenses. Bhagavata podegiya Bhagavata sthane. You first go and understand Srimad Bhagavatam properly. You do not understand this. You do not understand the science of Krishna consciousness. First go to a Bhagavata, a devotee Bhagavat, and then study Bhagavatam under the devotee. Then make this attempt. Otherwise, you will be called upstart amongst devotees. Right? So one should write on the order of higher authorities. There is... You find Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, whom Prabhupada is quoting in this purport. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, all the devotees in Vrindavan were requesting him, please write something about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's life. Write a biography. He was thinking, I am not qualified. But then he went to Madan Mohan, got the blessings of the deities. He went to the Pujari of Madan Mohan, right? Got the blessings. Then he went about every devotee searching. In those days, you will have to search. There was no Google search. Right? There was no Google Maps in those days. Old man, 96 years old, went about searching whoever he could find in Vrindavan. He got profuse blessings from everyone. And then he made an attempt to write Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Okay. Why is this poetry important? Because poetry acts as Uddipan. Uddipan means, like Bhaktivinoda Thakur has written, Radha Kunda Tate Kunja Kutira. The entire song talks about Govardhana Parvata Yamuna Tira Kalindi Nandini. Right? So all those aspects, right, which can give rise to remembrance of Krishna. Anything that gives rise to remembrance of Krishna. Like you may go to some store and you see a flute. Wow, and that flute reminds you of Krishna. You see a peacock feather, it reminds you of Krishna. Similarly, poems, and when Krishna is glorified in a poetic manner, it becomes uddipana for Krishna's remembrance. And one example that comes to my mind is Pundarik Vidyanidhi. Right? Gadadhar Pandit, he thought, oh, he's a materialist. He's chewing pan, right? And look at his attire, the way he looks. He cannot be a devotee, right? But when the verses from Srimad Bhagavatam were recited, that became an uddipan for Pundarik Vidyanidhi, right? So when somebody presents the same glorification of Krishna in a poetic manner, so it also becomes an uddipanam. But there are also mundane poets. So Prabhupada encouraged Allen Ginsberg. Allen Ginsberg was famous for beginning the hippie movement, right? The LSD culture. So Prabhupada encouraged Allen Ginsberg to write Krishna poems, right? But Allen Ginsberg said, I don't want to restrict myself to Krishna only, right? Right? So Prabhupada says, the such mundane poets, Prabhupada at one place says, such mundane poets, they dedicate their life to illusion. Prabhupada says. They're poets, but their life is dedicated to glorifying illusion because they do not want to glorify Krishna. Poetry without reference to Krishna is like decoration on a dead body. Another place Prabhupada says, right? Mandanam Lokaranjanam. Some communities in India, when there's somebody dies in the family, there's a death in the family, they will have such a huge, song and music and dance, and that's how the dead body is taken to the crematorium, right? Like when I was in Malaysia, devotees told me the custom there is that, like before I die, I buy the casket, right? What do you call it, casket? The coffin, I am supposed to buy my own coffin, and that coffin comes very costly. They're like $5,000 or $8,000. It begins from there. I thought maybe, I buy my own coffin, not a big deal. Why to trouble anybody later if I have to? Okay. But then I was told, no, there's something more that you need to buy. What is that? There are professionals who are into that business. They will make houses out of, paper. Out of paper, they'll make houses, paper cars, paper bikes, paper, dining tables made out of paper, washing machine made out of paper. For what? All this stuff you are supposed to buy, and all this stuff goes into the coffin. And all this paper, house, a paper car comes very costly, right? And what is the understanding? This will go to the next life. What will go to the next life? It's a dead body, right? Srila Prabhupada says similarly, any poetry without reference to Krishna, it's a simply illusion. It's decoration on a dead body. So, Allen Ginsberg, Prabhupada criticized him. What? You are dedicating your life to glorify illusion. But Prabhupada asked his disciples, one Haridas Prabhu and one Hayagriv Prabhu, Prabhupada requested, you compose some songs on Krishna or great acharyas. So they wrote a song on Narad Muni, right? And the title of their poem was The First Eternal Spaceman. Right? The first to send his wild vibrations to all those cosmic superstations. For the song he always shouts, sends the planets flipping out. But I will tell you before you think me loony that I am talking about Narad Muni. And then they wrote, singing, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. No, we will say, what is this? What is written? And Prabhupada was clapping his hands. And Prabhupada had tears in his eyes. Because he glorified Narad Muni. And Prabhupada said, very nice poem you have written. And Prabhupada, because you've added Hare Krishna Mahamantra also, everything settles off after that. Right? So Prabhupada liked anything. Right? Srila Prabhupada, one time when he was in Australia, one lady reporter, she happened to visit Prabhupada. Devotees had invited her, and devotees told Prabhupada she's not known to be writing anything good about anybody. She conducts interviews, right? But the next day when she'll write anything, she'll be very critical about whoever she interviews. So this lady came in, and when she came into the room, she was wearing a mini skirt, right? And she sat there in front of Prabhupada. And she asked Prabhupada, "You're a sadhu, you're a monk. What is this? You came in a Cadillac car," right? Prabhupada knew that she otherwise is very critical about anybody, and Prabhupada was also strong with her. Prabhupada, "What is this Cadillac car?" This simple steel car, right? I am a representative of God. Even a golden car is less. And she was like, "What?" He's talking back to me, right? I am well known for being something here. And then she said, "Why do you guys," she said, "why are you living in this, presidential suite of, a 5-star hotel?" And Prabhupada said, "For my sake, I can sit under a tree. But will you come there to take my interview?" And she was like, "What's going on here? Now I have to take the case." And this lady said, "Why do you guys shave your head and wear a mattress like this?" And Prabhupada said, "We know how to keep our heads cool and legs warm." You're like, "What? What's going on here? What is this?" And the interview got over. The next day morning when Prabhupada got up, from morning Prabhupada was asking, "Get me the newspaper. Get me the newspaper, I want." And devotees were not bringing the newspaper to Prabhupada. But when they brought, Prabhupada said, "Read it." And devotees read the column. There's nothing good written about it, about ISKCON or Prabhupada. And Prabhupada said, "Wonderful. What a nice article she has written." "What, Prabhupada? What is good about it?" Prabhupada told devotees, "Read the article once again and especially count how many times the word Krishna has been written." Right? So devotees counted, and it was the word Krishna was 18 times in that column. It had come. Krishna, various 18 times she had written like that. And Prabhupada said, "I did not come here to take glory for myself. I came here to preach the glory of holy name." Today, how many copies of this newspaper will be printed? And millions of copies, Prabhupada. Maybe thousands of copies. Prabhupada said, thousands multiplied by 18. That many times Krishna's name will be chanted in Australia today. Our mission is success. See? So Prabhupada was himself poetic, and Prabhupada appreciated when the poems were written in parampara. Okay, let us go to text 14. I have very less time with me. 9:45 we stop, right? Okay, I'll go fast from here. I wanted to speak something about 5 benefits of hearing, because the section is about eagerness for hearing. 5 benefits of hearing. I'll go fast in that discussion. I'll not spend time. But then I want to end the session today by discussing something on, we have smart cities, we have smartphones. We'll discuss something on smart hearing. SMART. Right? So how we develop eagerness for hearing. Okay, 5 benefits of hearing. We'll go to the next verse, text 14. Oh, really? That one? Okay. I have the book with me. This one is right. You all can see. Okay, text 14. Etat shushtushatam vidvan sutano arhasi bhashitum katha hari katho darkaha satam syu sad asi dhruvam. Okay, please read the translation.
O learned Sutta Goswami, please continue to explain such topics to us, because we are all eager to hear. Besides that, topics which result in the discussion of the Lord Hari should certainly be discussed in the assembly of devotees.
Yes, when devotees come about, they come together. Mat chitta, mat gata prana, bodhayanta paraspara. What do devotees do? They want to glorify Krishna. They want to speak about Krishna to each other. And especially if somebody is doing prajalpa, all that you need to do is just go to that person and say, "Can you say something about Krishna?" Right? Then they will not be able to speak anything. But devotees are meant to do Krishna Katha. Our mouth, our hearts should be full of Krishna's glory, something that we may have read, something that we may have heard. Otherwise, back in India we say, rogi se rogi mile kare rog ki baat. When two deceased people, no, my leg is paining, my head is paining, I went to that doctor. That doctor is very nice, you know that doctor. Go to that doctor. Rogi se rogi mile kare rog ki baat. Jnani se jnani mile kare shastra ki baat. Right? When two knowledgeable people come together, they discuss scriptures. And murkh se murkh mile mukka ghusa laat. Right? Two fools come meet, they just fight with it. That's all they do. But when devotees come together, they discuss Krishna Katha. What is so 5 benefits of hearing? When we do so, there are 9 processes of devotional service. The first of the process is Sravanam. One time Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur was giving a class, and some new people entered the temple and they went straight to the deities for taking darshan. And Bhakti Thakur said, they are having a good eye massage. Why? They have not heard about Krishna. What will they see as Krishna? Will they see Krishna there? So Shravanam becomes the first step, right, for our devotionals. Srila Prabhupada, when he began his preaching in New York, most people would not understand his heavy Bengali accent. But can you imagine, Prabhupada would give classes from Chaitanya Charitamrita. For us, right, all these years that we may have been preaching, for new people, when they come to the temple, you know, sitting in front of with them Chaitanya Charitamrita and speaking, we may not have that much faith. Will this work? Chaitanya Charitamrita they will hear, will they understand? But Prabhupada would take classes from Chaitanya Charitamrita in 1966, right? So what are the 5 benefits of hearing? 5 benefits is, first is information. Right? The first of it is that when we hear, we get information, we get knowledge about Krishna. We understand Krishna, we hear about Krishna. So first is information. Second step is what happens, what is the second benefit of hearing Krishna Katha? The second benefit is you will derive satisfaction of heart. Right? Mat chitta, mad gata prana, bodhayanta parasparam, kathayantascha mam nityam. And Krishna says, tushtanti cha ramanti cha. Right? One will be satisfied. Tushta, and one will experience the delight in the heart. Tushyanti cha ramanti cha. Right? So like, how many of you still remember back in India, I don't know if it's there, we have something called as Ferex baby powder. Remember those advertisements? Do they have such supplements in America for babies? They have? No, not a, similar supplements are there, and do they have advertisements for it? And you have seen the babies in those advertisements? Do you ever see such babies anywhere? They're so beautiful, they're so sweet, they're so cute, these babies. तो किधर पैदा होते हैं ऐसे बच्चे? ऐसे बच्चे पैदा किधर होते बाबा? ये फेरेक्स का फैक्ट्री में होते क्या पता नहीं, right? But similar now devotees, if you want to become like that Ferex babies, Ferex devotees, Ferex baby powder devotees, what should we do? Tushyanti cha ramanti cha. When will that happen? When we hear Krishna Katha profusely, we will experience the delight in the heart. What delights a devotee is not, we come for darshan, we surely come to temple to take darshan, we honor prasadam, but what should we do? We should be hearing profusely. Let Shravanam of Krishna Katha Shravanam, Utsava means, one time Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj, he told whoever would come and sit in front of him for discussing Bhagavatam, he said, tomorrow we'll celebrate a festival. He made an announcement like that. And then devotee said, so what should be the menu? What should be cooked? If it's a festival, then there has to be some prasadam menu. And Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj said, we will chant 64 rounds tomorrow. And whatever time remains, we will discuss Srimad Bhagavatam. Wow, a festival like that, this is the taste that we should have. Right? And during Gaudiya Math days, festival would mean one after another devotees would come to the Vyasasana, and each devotee would give katha for a couple of hours. And when Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur would come, the katha was minimum 3 hours. 3 hours is where devotee, okay, now Katha has begun, real Katha has begun, right? So, this focus on Krishna Katha, and when we profusely hear Krishna Katha, then we'll experience satisfaction in our heart. So first is information, second is satisfaction. The third benefit of hearing is we'll experience purification. You may say, what did I do? I was just sitting there in front and I just heard. Continue hearing. We see the transformation in Arjuna. Arjuna in the first chapter is doubtful, right? But by the time Bhagavad Gita ends, all that Arjuna did was he listened to Krishna. He heard from Krishna. And Arjuna became purified, right? Karishye vachanam tava. So this process of Sravanam is so powerful, it brings in the purification of heart. Fourth benefit. We could have discussed each, in detail, but I have few more verses to cover. So the fourth benefit is conviction. Information, satisfaction, purification, and then you experience conviction in the heart, right? Like back in India, somebody told me that devotees at ISV, they go in front of a mosques, and they do Bhagavad Gita distribution. And I was like, what conviction is this? How do they do it? They're able to do it because they're doing the first 4 steps very nicely. Information, satisfaction, purification, and then there is conviction. Right? Srila Prabhupada sent Brahmanand Prabhu and a couple of devotees to Pakistan to preach. Right? And then Prabhupada got to know that some Hindu people were killed. Right? And Prabhupada kind of assumed it that, oh, was it our devotees who have been killed in Pakistan? And Prabhupada had tears in his eyes. Where is Brahmanand? And Prabhupada told Shyam Sundar Prabhu, send a telegram quickly. Right? Prabhupada sent 2-3 telegrams in a span of 2-3 days. Every day Prabhupada was sending, no reply was coming. And suddenly, out of nowhere, Brahmanand Prabhu happened to come to Mumbai, and in Bombay, Prabhupada was staying in Chembur, and Brahmanand Prabhu came by. And Shyam Sundar Prabhu was so glad. Prabhupada is continuously asking about you, your welfare. He thought you got killed in Pakistan because you went for preaching there. Prabhupada sent you there. Prabhupada was feeling very sorry. Please go into Prabhupada's room. He's looking for you. And Brahman Prabhu went in. And Shyam Sundar Prabhu said, I also went in to see what happened. What will happen between Guru and disciple now. And Shyam Sundar Prabhu writes in the book, in his memoirs, he says, Prabhupada was touching Brahmanand Prabhu, was so huge, all around his body like that. Are you good? Are you doing good? Are you safe? Are you nice? Are you okay? And Prabhupada had tears, Brahmanand Prabhu had tears in his eyes. And Shyam Sundar Prabhu said, I got out of the room. I said, this is private affair now. Let Guru and disciple be together. And he waited outside the room, and after an hour, Brahmanand Prabhu came out. And Shyam Sundar Prabhu said, I asked him, what happened? He said, Prabhupada was very happy to know that, none of us have got hurt or, nothing happened to us in Pakistan. He heard details from me, what all we went through in Pakistan. And then Shyam Sundar Prabhu asked him, so, what are you up to now? Pakistan, you have come back alive. He said, Prabhupada has instructed me to go to Africa. What? Africa? Just now you have come from Pakistan. Now you have been instructed to go to Africa. And Shyam Sundar Prabhu said, when are you starting? He said, Prabhupada instructed, I am supposed to go tomorrow itself. Really? And are you going? Yes, I am going. Look at this conviction. He doesn't worry, he doesn't care. Pakistan, somehow I've come back alive. And now Prabhupada instructs him, go to Africa. How many of us have that conviction in Krishna consciousness? That when our superiors, when our Guru calls us, do something for me. How do you get this conviction? This conviction comes from profuse hearing of Sravanam of Krishna Katha. So information, satisfaction, purification, conviction, and another level is, the fifth benefit of hearing is fearlessness. Right? Abhaya. One gets abhaya dana. Krishna awards fearlessness to a devotee. Srila Prabhupada one time asked this question, what have you realized? What is your realization from chanting Hare Krishna? And Prabhupada immediately said, I feel no fear. Prabhupada said this, I feel no fear. Right? Why? Because when you're hearing Krishna's name, right? Parikshit Maharaj was fearless, right, of death. Oh, so okay. Now we go to the next verse, text 15. We'll recite the verse, but we'll not discuss anything on that. We'll go quickly to text 16, and that's where the smart hearing comes in. Text 15. Savai Bhagavato Raja Pandevyo Maharatha Balakridanakai Kridan Krishna Kridam Ya Adade.
Maharaj Parikshit, the grandson of the Pandavas, was from his very childhood a great devotee of the Lord. Even while playing with dolls, he used to worship Lord Krishna by imitating the worship of the family deity.
So text 14 was, in the assembly of devotees, Krishna Katha is what should happen. Text 15 is now glorification of Parikshit Maharaj. Oh, he's such a great devotee. Text 16 is now glorification of Vyasadeva. Vaiyasakischa Bhagavan Vasudeva Parayana Urugaya Gunodara Satam Syuhi Samagame.
Shukadeva Goswami, the son of Vyasadeva, was also full in transcendental knowledge and was a great devotee of Lord Krishna, son of Vasudeva. So there must have been discussion of Lord Krishna, who is glorified by great philosophers and in the company of great devotees.
So in the assembly of devotees, Krishna Katha should happen. What qualification of Parikshit Maharaj? He recites, he's such a great devotee. And Vaiyasakis, the son of Vyasadeva, he spoke Srimad Bhagavatam. He's full in transcendental knowledge. He's a great devotee of Lord Krishna, right? So there must have been discussions. Please do not stop. Continue glorifying Krishna. Continue the Srimad Bhagavatam. So many times we go through a phase. Sometimes we go through a phase in our Krishna consciousness practice where we feel, when we come for the Bhagavatam class, I have heard this. I know what will be the next point. मैं बताऊँ कि next example अच्छा क्या what is it? The class could have been taken to such a level. This guy, why did he turn it to somewhere else? I could have given a better class. All this goes on when we are sitting in the audience, right? Just because we have passed a few years, right, in Hare Krishna. But Srila Prabhupada would sit and hear from his own disciples. Srila Prabhupada was not shy. Because Prabhupada, when we watch a cricket match or a soccer match that way, right? How many of us focus on the television set? Which company? We don't focus on the television set. Which company is the television set of, right? Which we are more focused on the cricket, or we are more focused on the soccer. But many times what happens, we ask, who is giving class today? Who is going to speak? That means you are focusing more on the TV set and not the content, right? What should we be focusing on? The content is Krishna Katha. Every devotee is practicing, sincerely trying to practice. The superiors have empowered this devotee. Please sit on the Vyasasana and speak Krishna Katha. We should focus on all this and understand whatever comes out of the mouth of this devotee is the inspiration that Krishna is offering, right? The devotee is not speaking out of his mind. This devotee is speaking out of the inspiration from Krishna. So, Sravanam, we should not think, oh, I have been doing it for years now. It is something so basic. I want something, kuch aisa rasika kuch hona chahiye. We don't need that thing. Right? We don't need such. One time Jayadvaita Swami Maharaj asked this question, what is the secret of your success? You've been practicing devotional service for more than 50 years. Right? Now everyone was waiting, what will Maharaj say? 50 years of devotional service. Right? And Jayadvaita Swami Maharaj is one personality in ISKCON now who was present when Prabhupada was being offered Samadhi. And recently he offered Samadhi to his disciple. So his Guru's Samadhi and his disciple's Samadhi, imagine. What a feat, right? To be able to, and we witnessed it ourselves. And we can see on video Prabhupada's, he was there, and now even Kadam Kanai Swami Maharaj. So when Jayadvaita Swami Maharaj asked this question, what is the secret of your success? You know what he said? Chanting 16 rounds, following 4 regulative principles, and I'm making my attempt to serve in Prabhupada's mission in a mood of servant to the servant. And everyone was waiting. Next thing, Maharaj. Anything else, Maharaj? That's all. That is all that I did. So why I'm saying this is, sometimes we take basics for granted. The basics of our devotional service. We think, I may not work on it anymore. The formula of success is, success lies in the basics. Perfecting our basics. So, Sravanam is the process which is the foundation of our devotional service. What is smart hearing? Smart cities, smartphones, smart everywhere, smart. So, what is smart hearing? S stands for be very careful with the source for your the source for your hearing. Hear from the right source. Can we display 1:3:44? Yes. Tatra kirtayato vipra viprarishir bhuri tejasaha aham cha adyagamam tatra nivishtastat anugraha soaham vah shravayishyami yatha dhitam yatha mati. I want to focus on the purport of Srila Prabhupada. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, I'll read for all of you. One can certainly see directly the presence of Lord Krishna in the pages of the Bhagavatam if one has heard it from a self-realized great soul like Shukdev Goswami. Prabhupada says, one cannot, however, learn the Bhagavatam from a bogus, hired reciter whose aim of life is to earn money out of such recitation and employ the earning in sex indulgence. No one can learn Srimad Bhagavatam who is associated with persons engaged in sex life. That is the secret of learning the Bhagavatam. Nor can one learn the Bhagavatam from one who interprets the text by his mundane scholarship. One has to learn the Bhagavatam from the representative of Shukdev Goswami and no one else, if one at all wants to see Lord Krishna in the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam. That is the process. And probably there is no alternative. Suta Goswami is a bona fide representative of Shukdev Goswami because he wants to present the very same message which he received from the great learned Brahmana. Right? So, Sanatana Goswami in his Hari Bhakti Vilas warns us. What is the warning? Avaishtavo mukhodgirinam putam hari kathamritam shunvatam naiva kartavyam sarpo chishta yathapayah. Just as the milk is like nectar, but if the milk is touched by a serpent, a snake, puts its mouth right in that bowl of milk, the milk still looks same. But nobody will take the risk of drinking that milk anymore because that milk is turned into poison now. See, Krishna Katha is like nectar, right? But we should be careful about the source of it. Never hear from non-devotees. Especially back in India, we have this problem where people, they'll open, they'll have their cable TV and there are hundreds of channels. Of what? Samskar channel, this channel, that channel. Who is coming? Who is speaking there? just because there is, something of Krishna, right? They look like a devotee, right? And they are there on the television set, and I have nothing to do, doesn't mean, and I feel like, hearing something. Hearing Krishna Katha is not entertainment. Hearing Krishna Katha, we should be very careful with the source. And Srila Prabhupada would say, bona fide representative of Krishna. Right? When we hear in Parampara, that Krishna Katha is going, that will inspire our heart. So one should hear from pure devotees, Prabhupada says in the 3rd canto purport. I could have discussed a wonderful pastime. Pradyumna Mishra, he comes from Bengal and he wants to hear Krishna Katha. And Lord Chaitanya tells him, what do I know of Krishna Katha? You go to Ramananda Rai. Whatever I know, I have heard from Ramananda Rai. And then Pradyumna Mishra goes to Ramananda Rai's house. He witnesses something and he comes back, returns from there, thinking, which person? Why did Lord Chaitanya send me to him? And Lord Chaitanya asks him, what did you hear? I did not hear anything. Whatever I saw, I just ran away from that place. Once again, Lord Chaitanya tells him, no, don't get, cheated by the externals of Ramananda Rai. Go and sit with him. And then next day when Pradyumna Mishra goes, when Krishna Katha begins, whole day it goes on. And Ramananda Rai's servant has to come and say, do you mind taking a prasadam break? And when Pradyumna Mishra comes back to Lord Chaitanya, he says, wow, as if I have come back to life. I feel I am once again alive in Krishna consciousness, right? When Raghunath Das Goswami would come to Lord Chaitanya and say, I want to, I have some questions, would you mind answering? Lord Chaitanya told him, you go to Swarup Damodar Goswami, you hear from him. Another time again, Raghunath Das Goswami comes, I want to hear from you. And Lord Chaitanya tells him, Swarupa will tell you, right? So Lord Chaitanya wanted him to go to Swarup Damodar Goswami. Hasi Mahaprabhu Raghu Nathera Kahila Tomara Updeshta Kari Swaruper Dila. I've already appointed Swarup Damodar Goswami as your instructor. Sadhya Sadhan Tattva Shikha Ihara Sthane Amita Nahi Jani Ihujat Jani. As much, even I don't know as much as what Swarup Damodar Goswami can teach you. So Lord Chaitanya is not telling Raghunath Das Goswami, जाओ ना library में खोल लो कुछ भी, go to internet, search for it, you will get it. No. Lord Chaitanya is sending Raghunath Das Goswami, the Prayojan Acharya, to the right person. So smart hearing, S stands for source. M. In smart hearing, M stands for mood. The mood of hearing. And Krishna himself sets the mood in the Bhagavad Gita. That is 4.34. Tadviddi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. Pranipata means humble surrender. Pariprashna means genuine inquiry. And sevya means submissive service. It just doesn't mean surrender, inquiry and service. There is some qualifier to it. Right? So, especially in inquiry, because we are discussing about Sravanam, what is genuine inquiry? Genuine inquiry means something that you're going to apply in your life. That is a genuine inquiry. So with this mood, we will be able to hear. There's a proper mood to hearing. One time I was asking one devotee, after every Bhagavatam class, you raise your hand and ask a question. How come you get so much, how much you are able to get such questions? And this devotee said, मेरे लिए नहीं पूछता, बाकियों की फायदे के लिए. I'm not asking for myself. For the sake of others, I ask. I'm like, who has told you to ask questions like that? That's not proper inquiry. So, M stands for the proper mood in hearing Krishna Katha. Atah Shri Krishna Namadi na bhaved grahyam indriyai sevon mukhehi jivhadau. It has to be done in a mood of service, right? A very important service. When we sit for Krishna Katha, we should not, if anybody, is in the assembly hearing Krishna Katha, we should not think, do something worthwhile in life, man. Get up, do some service, go. No, service also should be done. But we should not think hearing Krishna Katha is not a service. It's a very important service that we can do for Krishna and for oneself. And what is the speciality of Vrindavan? Everyone is glorifying Krishna or everyone else is hearing Krishna Katha, Krishna's glories. So Bhaksan Thakur would say, Drika Drishya Nyaya. Drika Drishya Nyaya. He would say, we go before the Lord to take darshan of the Lord. So, but most important is, he would say that we seeing the Lord is not glorious. But when the Lord glances upon us, that is glorious. I cannot see Krishna. Krishna can see me. And Bhaksan Thakur would say, I had come to this world to glorify Krishna in so many wonderful ways. But most of my time was spent in repeating this message only. Itta samajh jao. Don't come here to enjoy Krishna. You are here to serve Krishna. One time Chandramouli Swami Maharaj was giving a lecture at Chaupati temple and the section was about Mohini Murti. And one devotee raised hand and said, Maharaj, can I ask a question? He said, Maharaj, if Mohini Murti is so beautiful, everyone is attracted to Mohini Murti, why don't we install Mohini Murti deities in our temple? Everyone will come to ISKCON to see Mohini Murti. And Maharaj said, very nice question. I will put your question in the GBC meeting and check, should we be doing it? And the next day, His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj was supposed to give class. And Maharaj finished the class, before time. And Maharaj said, somebody in the audience yesterday asked a question about Mohini Murti being installed in ISKCON temples. Do you mind standing? This devotee was like, what's going to happen with me? This devotee stood up and said, Maharaj said, good question. But Maharaj said, our Chandramouli Swami Maharaj is so simple at heart. He said he will put your question to the GBC meeting. Maharaj said, actually, the deities in our temple are meant to be served, not to be enjoyed. We don't want people to come to our temples and enjoy our deities. We come here for devotional service. And Bhaksan Thakur would say, most of my life I spent in explaining this concept. You are not the enjoyer. You are supposed to be enjoyed by Krishna. Krishna is the supreme enjoyer. Right? So, proper mood for hearing, I am not here to enjoy Krishna Katha. Wow, there were nice jokes. Oh, there was so much humor. There was so much, nice thing. I am here because Krishna will like. Because Krishna likes his devotees hearing Krishna Katha. Right? Next, A. SMA. A stands for hearing should be done in the association of devotees. For it to have the maximum impact on us. We can hear Krishna Katha on our own. Right? We can have our iPods. We can hear for ourselves. But when we sit in association of devotees like this, the way we are doing it, it has the maximum impact. Right? Like many temples in ISKCON, they have this culture of at least one morning in a week, we hear Srila Prabhupada's class. Right? So when we regularly hear Srila Prabhupada, we may feel that yes, Prabhupada is speaking the same philosophy or the basics Prabhupada repeats so often in his lectures. But when we sit in association of devotees and we hear Srila Prabhupada, oh, the potencies. So can we display 3:25:25? 3.25.25. That's Lord Kapila speaking to Mother Devahuti. Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, 25th chapter, 25th verse. That's Srimad Bhagavatam. Third canto. So hearing online hearing has kind of become a culture nowadays, right? All these Google and all these companies, they brought this, Google Meet online, work from home, and then you can have online meetings. And now what are they doing? They're telling their employees come back to office. See? Right? But devotees have got this habit. Why to go to temple? I can sit at home and I can hear. No problem. You can hear online also, but that may not be the best hearing. A is To hear in the association of devotees. What happens when you hear in by the time Mataji displays the verse, what happens in hearing in association of devotees? When many devotees come together to hear, then each devotee, by that devotee with one's own eagerness and one's own sincerity, each devotee is attracting Krishna's mercy now. Right? In the assembly, as many devotees, with their eagerness and sincerity, they are attracting Krishna's mercy. Even if we may be just hanging around there in the assembly, that much mercy we are going to get. Let's say 50 devotees are sitting there. 50 devotees are attracting the mercy of Krishna now. Right? And I also will receive that mercy. So, satam prasangan mama virya samvido bhavanti ritkarna rasayana kathaha tajjoshanada swapvarga vartmani shraddha ratir bhaktir anukramishati. Can somebody read the translation?
In the association of pure devotees, discussion of the pastimes and activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is very pleasing and satisfying to the ear and the heart. By cultivating such knowledge, one gradually becomes advanced on the path of liberation, and thereafter he is freed, and his attraction becomes fixed. Then real devotion and devotional service begin.
So everything that happened in the verse translation, the later part, what is the first step? Hearing in association of devotees is so important. And you find Parikshit Maharaj, Dhruva Maharaj, all these devotees, the Lord was imploring them, ask for a blessing. And you'll find what was the blessing that they asked? May I get the fortune of being in association of devotees and hear Krishna Katha. Imagine this was the blessing being asked. And the Lord is right there in front of them. This is the blessing that was asked. Okay. Smart. So R. R is hear repeatedly. Repeated hearing. Right? Smart. R stands for repeated hearing. Can we display Adi Leela's 17th chapter, 311th verse? 17.311. Adi Leela. Chaitanya Charitamrita. $17.311. So you find that Chaitanya Bhagavat was already there, Chaitanya Mangal was already there, and Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, I will also make an attempt. What? Repeated hearing. And some pastimes may have been given in Chaitanya Bhagavat, but Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, I am going to repeat them here. See what he says in Adi Leela. Likita granther jadi kari anuvad tabe se granther artha paiye aswad. Yeah, read the translation.
If I repeat what is already written, I may thus relish the purport of this scripture.
So you may hear, in the first step you may hear, but when you hear repeatedly, then you will develop relish. Right? Kintu anudinam adarat anudinam khalusaiva jushta swadvi kramat bhavati tadgad mool hantri, Rupa Goswami says. Every day you hear and respectfully you hear. What will happen? You will start developing taste for it. You will develop relish for it. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. So this is Adi Leela. I had two verses with me. Adi Leela is saying, I'm going to repeat. And Ante Leela says, very nice, I repeated. See? Okay. Ebe Ante Leela Ganer Kari Anuvad Kaile Pae Leelara Aswad. I have repeated it. But for what? Now Aswadan will come for devotees. Right? So, generally, we think that if I repeatedly hear, I will get bored. But that's what dead subject matter does. When dead material matter is, dead subjects are discussed, one time you can watch a movie, few times you can watch a movie. It may be Dilwale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge. But still, how many times can you watch that movie? But that's not how Krishna Katha is. We should never compare the two. Thinking, Krishna book, how many times will I read? As many times you read Krishna book, that much you will relish because there's Krishna there. Right? Chaitanya Charitamrita Nitya Nutan Shunite Shunite Judai Hridaya Shravan. This Antilila, Krishnas Kaviraj Goswami is saying, Chaitanya Charitamrita is ever increasingly fresh. For one who hears it again and again, the heart and the ears become pacified. Okay, we'll go to the T and then I'll leave for a few minutes for question. Smart, okay, let us do a revision. What is S? Be very careful with the source of your hearing. S. M, the mood for hearing. A, hear in the association of devotees. R, repeated hearing. And T stands for hear with transcendental faith. Shraddha. Shraddha kari shuna iha shunite maha sukha khandi be adhyatmik ati kutar kadi dukh. So Antilila 19.110. Shraddha kari shuna ear. He's saying, yes, one may say, yeah, I have ears and I'm hearing. Krishnas Kaviraj Goswami says, you hear with your ears, but hear with faith. Right? You should hear with faith. Shraddha kari shuna iha shunite mahasukha. Is it there? Yes. Okay, let us recite. Shraddha kari shuna iha shunite mahasukha. Khandi be adhyatmik adi kutar kadi dukha.
Just try to hear these topics with faith, for there is a great pleasure even in hearing them. That hearing will destroy all miseries pertaining to the body, mind, and other living entities, and the unhappiness of the false arguments as well. So hear with Shraddha, we hear with faith. Right? Sometimes Srila Prabhupada, he would say that Prabhupada met Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur for 10 or 11 times. Prabhupada, just 10 or 11 times I met. And most of the time, Srila Prabhupada said, I would focus on hearing from my Guru. And many a times I could not make out anything. But I would sit there with faith, I would hear. Because Guru is speaking, it will work on my heart. So one time, few professors from Calcutta University, they came to meet Bhakti Siddhanta Sri Thakur. And they had some questions to ask. And Bhakti Thakur told them, let us go to the garden, the temple garden, and we will discuss there. And when they reached the garden, Bhakti Thakur asked these professors, whatever questions you have, you ask the gardener. They're like, what? We are professors. What will this gardener answer? And when the professors asked these questions, this gardener gave all the answers perfectly from Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita he was quoting. And then the last of their question was, how did you get this knowledge? You seem to be illiterate. And this gardener said, I'm illiterate. I didn't go to school. But all that I do is, I sit in front of Gurudev when he speaks Krishna Katha. And he has given me a service. Serve in the garden, I do that much. Everything, rest all, I do not know. I only hear from Guru. What is he doing? Hearing with transcendental faith. One time, one person came to Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur. Lecture began, and suddenly this person remembered that he had some urgent work to do, and he wanted to go. And Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur told him, the most urgent and important work is to hear Krishna Katha. Even if your house is on fire, that is not an urgent reason. Nothing can be more urgent than hearing Krishna Katha. I imagine. Right? One time, one doctor told Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur,
that he should speak less. So much Krishna Katha you are doing, you are talking so much, you should speak less. Right? And Bhaksan Thakur, he told the doctor, what is the use of my life? What is the use of keeping this body if I cannot glorify Krishna? Right? Bhaksan Thakur, and so after the doctor told him that you should speak less, Bhaktisan Thakur began his talk to the doctor, and he spoke for 1 hour to the doctor. Why should he be he should be speaking Krishna Katha, right? The doctor was taken aback. एक sentence में बोल देते. But that was Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur, right? A culture around Sravanam, right? So this entire section talks about eagerness for hearing Krishna Katha, and we discussed how Shaunaka Rishi is saying, don't stop. You may have answered the 2 questions from Shukdev Goswami you have given us, but the discussion must have continued. They were eager to hear Krishna Katha, and in the assembly of devotees, Krishna Katha should happen. Parikshit Maharaj is there, Shukdev Goswami is there. Please continue discussing. And we discussed the 5 benefits of hearing Krishna Katha, and we also discussed today what is smart hearing. Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavat Mahapuran ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. We have half a minute for questions. Okay? You choose. You have half a minute. We just have half a minute now. 9:45 we're supposed to. The Kaishoro group has come here. They're here. They're here. Okay. Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So when does our faith becomes transcendental faith?
When you no more depend on your own mind and intelligence, you depend on Guru now. Because just like Srila Prabhupada had transcendental faith that the name of Krishna, the name of Lord Gauranga will be spread around the world. And many were doubting. Bhaktivinoda Thakur had full faith, transcendental faith, Bhaktisan Thakur had transcendental faith, and after Bhaktisan Thakur, Srila Prabhupada had it. Right? So one time when Srila Prabhupada came back from his business trip in Kolkata, his house, ground floor is where Prabhupada's family would live, and the first floor Prabhupada had given to Gaudiya Math devotees. Right? So Prabhupada came back, and then he took his bead bag, and he sat on the staircase leading to the first floor, and Prabhupada sat there and he was chanting Hare Krishna. And his godbrothers, some sannyasis, and especially Bhakti Vikas Maharaj, some accountant, one devotee was accountant for Gaudiya Math, they were all discussing Chaitanya Charitamrit, and especially they were discussing on the verse, Prithvite Ache Jadi Kono Nagaradi Gram Sarvatra Prachar Hoibo Moronam. That all throughout the world, all towns and villages, my name will be chanted. This was the prediction of Lord Chaitanya. And these devotees came out while discussing this verse, and one of them said, actually Prithvi here means Bengal. That's what we should understand. See what's happening here? They're doubting. Actually doubting. Prithvi doesn't mean Bengal. Right? But when this devotee said, actually Prithvi could be translated as Bengal here, Prabhupada turned and Prabhupada told this devotee, you do not have faith in the words of Lord Chaitanya. Some fool will one day preach the glories of Lord Chaitanya around the world, but you will not be that fool, because you do not have transcendental faith here. Just because it does not fit into my mind and intelligence, right? When you go beyond your own mind and intelligence, you have reached the transcendental area. And especially what is Guru's instruction, what is Krishna saying. If somebody asks you a question, have you seen Vaikuntha? Do you have any experience of Vaikuntha? But you have transcendental faith in that because Krishna is speaking, right? And there's a logical faith also, but here is transcendental faith is when you put your life at stake on the words of Guru. That's transcendental faith, right? Okay, thank you very much. We'll stop here. We've gone beyond time, right? The allotted time. We've gone beyond allotted time. The next group is ready with their presentation, right? We should stop. Check with Prabhuji. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Such an honor to have you and such an honor to hear such inspiring Bhagavatam class. I'll never forget the smart in hearing now. Now we'll go on to the next part of our program, which is our regular Kaishara student presenting a short presentation on the practical wisdom from Bhagavatam. So Vedang, please come forward. And Vedang's family actually joined Sunday school, and they've started to come. And Vedang this is his first year in Sunday school. Yes. Just sit. You want to stand, and you can see that. Okay. No, you can hold. Okay, sure. Go on. I can do that too.
I'm Vedang, and I'm 12 years old, and I will be talking about can God create a stone he cannot lift. The scriptures speak of a time when stones floated on water, when a child lifted up a mountain. How is this possible? It is because nothing is impossible for the omnipotent Lord. The pastimes that God performed are for superhuman capacity. This begs the question, can God create a stone he cannot lift? Since God created the universe, why must it be difficult for... Oh, wait. Okay. Since God created the universe, why must it be difficult for him to do anything? After all, the Creator cannot be bound by the laws of his own creation. If the Lord is the reason that the infinite planets float perfectly in their orbits, the omnipotent Lord cannot lose his potency in human form. This leads to another question. If Lord Rama had the ability to bend the laws of nature to his will, why could he have not crossed the ocean without a bridge and allowed the monkeys to do so as well? Why must he struggle to make a bridge? The Lord must do so to not harm the aquatic... The Lord did so to not harm the aquatic life of the ocean, and to glorify this defeat of the evil king Ravana for generations to come. Thus the Supreme Lord commanded his monkey army to construct a magnificent bridge. This pastime created suitable material for discussion for us, absorption, and increased our love for him. Now, why did Krishna have to live Govardhana hill if he could have protected the Vrajvasis from Indra's wrath by other means, by stopping the rains or by other means? Why did he have to struggle to lift up the hill? He did this to help his devotees and show his immense love for them. Krishna also wanted to teach Indra a lesson, his dear devotee Indra a lesson. Indra's ego was inflated by the heavenly opulence and his kingly position. When Krishna said to his devotee to not worship Indra, and when heavy rainfall followed, he protected them with ease. This deflated Indra's false pride and humbled him. Krishna also wanted to spend time with his devotees. His company was rare before he picked up Govardhana, limited to only his parents and his cowherd friends. Now Krishna was available to everyone. And he was able to give enjoyment to his devotees. These pastimes and the struggle of the Lord are for the benefit of the devotees. The Lord does them to prove to humans that he is omnipotent and the Supreme Personality of the Godhead and not an ordinary human. No ordinary conventions can stop him and obstruct his will. This increases our devotion and thus expedites our spiritual journey. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vedang. So, what is the most touching point in the story? to you in this chapter?
Lord Rama, like creating the bridge to go rescue his wife, like he could have not done that and like not wasted that much time, but like just went there before. Yeah.
Nice. Thank you very much. Any other comments, questions, thoughts? Yes.
Hare Krishna, I absolutely agree with you on your point you made just there, of that being the most touching point, because you had mentioned that he did it to defeat the ego of Ravana, as well as to negate the harm on the environment. And so while he is the creator, he takes the time to make sure that no one is disturbed by his actions outside of those who need to be. And that level of care shows just how deeply held we are. So I really appreciated that. Thank you.
Wonderful. Got the governor, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Vedant, thank you for putting that nice slides together. I really like the point that Krishna does whatever he does to please his devotees. So he pleased Indra because he wanted to teach him a lesson. He pleased the Vrindavan Vasis to give them personal time. So he is not doing those superhuman acts in order to show his omnipotency, but it is just a natural thing. As part of his reciprocation to his devotees, we see his superhumanly activities. So just like you showed how Krishna showed his Vishnu form before he became a baby to Devaki and Vasudev. So thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Wonderful point. Any other thoughts or questions? Oh, yes.
Actually, it's my first time meeting you, so nice to meet you. I wanted to say that you reminded me of my public speaking class that I used to take at the Mission College in San Jose State. And actually, I was watching you from the kitchen and your eye contact, you connecting with the people. So I know you got a lot of spiritual feedback, but I just want you to know that, you have really touched my heart today, and it's so nice to meet you. And I just wanted to also thank Rasheshwari for cultivating such a nice youth at ISV. So keep coming. We'd love to have you more around. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, actually, for bringing up that point. Yes, it's a nice experience, actually, to come here and glorify the Lord. And it's not an easy experience, right? And we've all had our first time. So I really am grateful to you, Vedang, for taking this step. It's a huge step. And thank you to the parents. They have been very regular and very sincere. The first class of the Sunday school, I requested them to buy the Srimad Bhagavatam because that's where our curriculum is based, and they were so spontaneous and favorable to this, scripture. So very grateful to you for, allowing us to, give you this knowledge, and to Vedang to take up this knowledge so nicely. It is not simple, but it is transcendental. So, to the lordships and to the parampara, to Srila Prabhupada, it gives a lot of pleasure. And today is also the disappearance day of Bhakti Vinod Thakur. We are celebrating that festival. So it's a very special occasion. So thank you so much. And thank you for this opportunity, for allowing me to serve the youth. I'm very grateful to all the devotees for your encouragement to the youth. And, of course, it gives us a lot of satisfaction to see these, seeds grow and become wonderful saplings and then plants and then trees later on. So thank you so much for this opportunity. And we'll go on to the next part of the program. You want to just...
So we will have the next program shortly, but before that we will sweep the temple hall very quickly. So I need 2 devotees,
to help out. And also, if anyone would like to help out with setting up the tables in 30 minutes, we'll need some help out in the parking lot.
Actually, we do need 2 tall devotees because I noticed some cobwebs here, and let's make a nice offering to Bhaktivinoda Thakur by cleaning up the temple. So if everyone can just pitch in a little bit, that would be great. And also, we want to make sure that kids, they have some activities in the afternoon because it's so hot out there. So make sure your kids are dehydrated. Help yourselves to set up some water out there. So just look around and do what's needful, okay? Hare Krishna. Oh, next program starts at 10:30, so you can stretch yourself. Hare Krishna. Let's put away the cushions in the back, and then we can get started. And Janardhan Maharaj might be coming on his way. Hare Krishna.
Hare Rama Krishna Jada Maya Nama